Wow, that was just beautiful. That was gorgeous, everybody. Thank you for tuning in and being a part of this. We are Rumble Pop Live. I am in costume here for Halloween, of course, and also here to provide you for all your needs in case you feel unsafe. So if anytime during this podcast you feel unsafe, just reach out to me. And me being security here, I will take care of any issues. So if Kevin is causing any
I
trouble,
feel very
let me
unsafe.
know. If Kevin is the root of the problem, if it just so happens to be Kevin, out of all of us, if it's, let's say it's not Sal, it's not Chris, it's not me, let's say it's Kevin, then you guys, you let me know, okay?
I feel very unsafe today, though. Donald, they should be here.
Yeah?
In Texas? In Texas?
Oh, you just come protect me.
Oh.
I will do my best, sir. How about that? If that helps. There we go. Now we'll just move Chris over there. There we go. So we got Chris. And Donald can go right over here in the corner. Yeah. It's been a minute since I've done this, guys. So thank you for people that are popping in, for all 7 of you that are here so far. But it's going to get bigger. It's going to get larger. That's what I always tell the ladies. Oh, zing. Damn.
He's not wrong.
I'll be here all week. Try the veal. Anyway, let's have Kevin do an introduction on what exactly we're doing today, who's with us, very short introduction of who's with us, and what we're doing today so we can get started. And I'm going to do some quick work in the background.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone out there in the 24 time zones on planet Earth. Welcome to the most horrific, most televised show on YouTube. It is Rumble Pop. Now I'm going to quickly introduce to you my co-host and co-conspirators. First, the man, the executive producer from the great state of Ohio. He is Bruce Campbell's number 2 man. Well, yes, number 2 man and number 2 fan.
I was number 2 man. All right, okay.
He is a man
He
who
told me
believes
that. He did tell me that, yeah.
He's a man who believes in securing the ladies' hearts out there. He is simply known as the most desirable, the most original, the most socially lubricated dog.
Thank you. And again, just to let you guys know, I am security here. So if there's any issues, you let me know and I'll take care of it right away, okay? Just saying.
Wow, that's some serious stuff right there.
I know. I'm dead.
Now we go to that central time zone. We go to that beautiful, great state of Texas. We go to a manly man, a man who is one of the most learned men in America today. He lays his happy hands of education. He makes sure that his students can get a job on Broadway or on Hollywood or in the independent circuit. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for the huggable, the lovable Professor Chris D. Turr.
You know, I don't deny them the possibility of also ending up in the valley. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
Oh, yep, totally get it. Yep, no other thing needs to be said about that.
And last, but certainly not least, a man who turns the other cheek. A man born on the harsh streets of Santa Clarita, California. A man who has a righteous and excellent and stupendous YouTube channel called Osiris Reed, which breaks down powerful hip-hop lyrics and always does superb video gaming. Please give it up for the man that the ladies cannot get enough of. He has so much love to give in this world. Let's hear it for Big Sal Hernandez.
I'm not a crook.
Whoa.
Oh, sir, you're far from a crook. You're on the straight and narrow path. And of course, I am your humble podcaster, the Grand Master of the Jedi and Vulcan Arts, your Supreme Chancellor, Brother Kevin. And real quick, before we start, we just want to give a quick apology. I know we've been gone for a few weeks, but life happens. All 4 of us, I kid you not, all 4 of us co-hosts here have been through and are still going through certain things in our respective and personal lives. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for sticking with us.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to have a lot of fun tonight as we get into our favorite and ranking top horror TV shows.
Yes, yes. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be an amazing time.
Excellent.
Hello to Mom and Dad. Everybody say hi to my mom and dad.
Hi, Mama and Papa McKinney.
It's good to
On
see you
top.
guys on. It's good to see everybody on. And in fact, sometimes it's just good, if you think about it, to pull out. Okay, so it's time for that segment, that wonderful, beautiful segment where I pull out comics and talk about them. Now, this being the month of October, Halloween time, I thought let's talk a little bit about horror comics in particular. So that means a lot of independent companies are putting out a lot of horror comics. Now, DC does one every year. Sometimes Marvel tries. They fail horribly. I don't know why, but DC always does the best holiday themed stuff. They do really well with Halloween, Christmas, things like that, you know. So they, Image this year came out with, just 2 weeks ago, a series called Kill Your Darlings. Now, it is about the Salem witch trials and how that relates to now and this poor little girl who obviously has some issues, but we didn't know that she did. And as far as issues, this is the only one that's come out. It's issue 1. I recommend it. It's fun. It starts out with a lot of imagination, a lot of creativity, and it's a lot lighter than you think in general. So the cover sells you on something that didn't really exist. So it's unfortunate with that, but the rest of it is a very fun, good story. So I recommend that one. So Kill Your Darlings, I think, is a really good one. Another one that I'm not sure how I feel about it, but I love the cover, so I picked it up. Operation Sunshine. Now, it's about a group of bugs, aka lower level vampires, just feed on blood. They don't really have any like vampiric powers just per se or anything. One of them even covers up to go to his day job because he has a 9 to 5 and he works in a cubicle that he covers too while he's there. And then this dude shows up at the end. He's like, I'm a main vampire. You guys should listen to me. I'm being hunted. I need your help. And that's where it ends. So I'm curious, but also the storytelling's a little weird. So it doesn't quite gel for me. But I'm going to give it to issue 2. And if it turns it around for me in a positive way, I'll continue. If it does not, then I'll probably be done. So that's Operation Sunshine by Dark Horse that came out last week. We also have, this was a big hit with everybody. Sumerian Press, I believe is the name of the company. They came out with American Psycho. And issue 1 is a banger. We start out in 87, flash forward to 2011. And the only thing I have to say about this is you had to have watched the movie. If you didn't watch the movie, talk to somebody that has, because you'll have questions. So watch the movie, then read the comic. It's very good. It's enjoyable. I didn't even care much for the movie, I'm going to be honest, but I like the comic. I like where it's going. I like the direction. I'm interested. So American Psycho gets a thumbs up.
Is it as a continuation of the movie?
Yes, it kind of is. Yeah. There's a family unit thing going on that you'll need to know about. So definitely, I would say it's a continuation.
Okay.
This one is issue 1. It's called A Haunted Girl. It's not fantastic by any means, but I feel the message is pretty important. The background of the story is the girl here. What if a girl that doesn't want to live now finds herself responsible for saving the entire world? And that's the whole story, the premise of it, the idea, in the nutshell. And a father wrote this down in the emergency room while he was waiting on his daughter who had tried to kill herself. And he wrote in here that she'd gotten better. And it got to the point where she was able to even co-write with him. So a fantastic ending to their story creates an interesting premise on a comic that I'm not 100% sure I'm on board on, but I'm definitely going to give it an issue 2, just because of what they went through and what it means to them, and I feel like it'd be good to throw some support their way. So if you get a chance, read A Haunted Girl and let me know what you think. But that's pretty much it. That's going to be all about pulling out. So. Anyway, let's get back to it. Sorry, Kevin.
We need to add
It's
like a
okay.
splat sound effect at the end of that.
Like a,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. That might be a little too on the nose.
Do you want to give a little
On
love
the
and
nose.
shout out to one of our brotherly sponsors?
Oh yeah, you're wearing a nice hat from Splattered Frog Brewing. You go to Splattered Frog Brewing, splatteredfrog.com, and type in the coupon code Shortbox. You save 20% off your order. Also, we have another sponsor called Half's Hot Sauce. In fact, Half's just loaded me up with a couple refresher bottles of hot sauce. We've got another bottle of Painapple. At some point, they were going to be giving away a Killer Pickle, and in fact, he even made a new hot sauce that I have tried, and then I instantly bought a bottle. It's called Boring Sauce for Boring People. So it's his version of like a generic, regular Tapatio style hot sauce, but with the usual Half's flair. It is available on the site, so I highly recommend you go to halfshotsauce.com. Type in the coupon code Donald Hiccups, get 10% off your order. Order a bottle of the Boring Sauce for Boring People immediately, and throw in some Killer Pickle and a few other hot sauces that you think sound good, and wait for it to arrive, open it, and enjoy, and you're welcome. So, Splattered Frog and Half's Hot Sauce, check them out. Kevin?
Beautiful. Beautiful.
All right, are we ready to move on? We're going to move on to the topic, right? We're ready.
That's right.
We're ready to rock
Yes,
and
we're
roll.
ready.
This is we're ranking horror television shows. So basically, horror TV. Now, the way that we did this, of course, instantly in people's heads, they're thinking The Outer Limits. They're thinking of X-Files. They're thinking of what's the Twilight Zone, stuff like that, right? But a lot of those three shows in particular do a lot more with science fiction, alien invasion, space, things like that. Not a ton of horror happens within any of those three. Not a ton. So I would say probably out of all of them, The Outer Limits would have done the most. Particularly in the 90s run that they did, because I did watch a lot of the 90s Outer Limits back in the day. So that being said, we did not include those. You can get angry with us if you would like, but we did not include those for that reason. We did include actual horror and some with a tinge of comedy, or that's full comedy that we thought deserved being mentioned at least for you guys, because it does have a lot of the horror tropes and stuff in there as well. So we're going to dive right in. Before, though, we get started, I do know that we... hello, Sammy. Thanks for joining. I do know that we have some honorable mentions. And the honorable mentions are interesting. One of them, if you've ever seen the Lord of the Flies, I would say you're probably... And I don't think we have a photo for that, do we, Kevin?
Lord of the Flies?
The honorable mentions.
Oh, no, I sent you the honorable mentions photos.
Was it in a separate email?
No, same one.
Same
They're
one?
all put together. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, take a look.
Huh. I don't see them at all. None of them. Not one.
Strange.
Yeah. So anyway, we're going to just mention them really quickly then, since we don't have photos. Yellow Jackets, which is kind of very similar to Lord of the Flies. It's basically where a women's, a soccer team or volleyball team crashes in a forest, and how shit gets real fast. And they lean in on cannibalism and killing each other and all that shit. And it gets really creepy really fast. So Yellow Jackets was a really good one. Another one was The Strain. That's a Guillermo del Toro produced series that was on FX. Fantastic, by the way. Really well done. Highly recommended if you get a chance. There's a lot of cinematic elements to it that I really liked. We're also, speaking of a little comedy tinge, we dabbled into Wednesday. I know it's Monday, but we're talking about Wednesday, the series with the Addams Family. A lot of people really like that, and it did have some horror elements to it that we did enjoy. And another one that Chris and I were talking about earlier ran for at least 5 seasons. If it's not still continuing, we're not 100%. It's an anthology series called Slasher. And I tell you what, the first season is phenomenal. I highly recommend it. I haven't seen more than that, unfortunately. But I thought it was really good what came out. And it has Morgana, the girl that played Morgana in the Merlin series on the BBC. and she plays the lead in Slasher. And the whole premise of the first season is her mother and father were killed by this serial killer. So she gets married, decides to go back to her hometown with her husband, live their lives there so she can kind of reclaim her power, so to speak. But what happens is people start getting murdered in a similar fashion to what that killer was doing when she was there and when she was younger. Only problem is that serial killer is in prison and has been since they caught him. So what's going on? Is it her? Did she lose her mind? Is it somebody else emulating that serial killer? And if so, why? Why any of it? So it's very cleverly written. Highly recommend it. And I think Big Sal, you may have had a recommendation or two that we were supposed to put in the honorable mentions also.
Yeah, I put Outer Limits as well, and I'm trying to remember what the other one was.
It was a werewolf one or a wolf one, something.
Oh, Werewolf by Night.
I don't know if that really counts as a TV show. It's one episode.
But
Yeah, I mean, it was on TV, though, so we'll qualify it just for that reason. And just because we want people to watch it, because it is a horror-esque show, like a television special. So, I mean, yeah, if we want to split hairs, sure, but we're just trying to get people interested in things. So if we mention Werewolf by Night, if we mention Slasher, Yellow Jacket, Strange, things like that people haven't heard of or haven't checked out, maybe they will, and maybe they'll find something they enjoy. A new love, perhaps. So with that, let's get to our top 10. There is a bit of a caveat, so to speak, with this. There are a few that tied, and so we'll mention both at the same time, and hopefully we'll have photos that we can put up. I'll try to bookend them together, but if not, I'll just mention them, and then we can just use our imaginations, because that's fine too. So this one got mentioned a lot, actually, and I was shocked at how often it got mentioned, particularly because I've literally never seen it. I have no freaking clue anything about this. Obviously, I know about the movies that took place, but I had no idea about this being a series, nor if it would be any good or not. I believe it took place in the 90s, if I recall. I could be wrong on this. I'm sure Kevin or Big Sal can correct me on this. But number 10 on the list of our top 10 is Friday the 13th, the TV series. And what did we love? What did we enjoy about this? Why is this number 10 on the list? Why did this get mentioned so many times by you guys?
Honestly, I feel like the story was just more in depth, with like more of a background to Jason and his mother.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like it could be better with the gore factor, but overall, I'm enjoying it, what they're doing so far with it.
Okay, so it's a syndicated series, if I recall, and it came on usually around midnight or 12:30 or something like that in the morning, like on a Saturday or a Sunday or something, or it would play at 11 p.m. at night during the week on some UHF or VHF station. I don't know which.
I thought it was like an anthology series that had nothing to do with Jason.
I thought it did. Like, it was supposed to, they always talked about him.
Okay, so somebody watched it, somebody didn't, and I don't know which one because I haven't seen it. So I'm so glad we put that at number 10
myself, so.
and didn't take a space up for something that somebody doesn't know. So we're gonna go. Number 10 was Friday the 13th, and we're gonna quickly move on to number 9. Now, this is a series that I didn't really watch, but a lot of people watched and loved. And we're talking Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the television series. Started out originally on the United Paramount Network, if I recall, and made its way over to the CW eventually. Joss Whedon created, written, and stars Sarah Michelle Gellar, Seth Green, David Boreanaz, and a whole host of other people that I can't remember their names offhand.
Yep, the spinoffs like Angel came out of it. Yep.
Yeah. Well, Mom says she's never saw number 10. Well, guess what? One of us that said they hasn't either. So, I guess we're in the same boat, Mom. Sammy says, yes, welcome to the Hellmouth. Hellmouth? I don't know what that means.
Yeah, it was Hellmouth.
Oh my god, I totally forgot. I totally forgot Seth Green was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Oh my god.
That's why there were so many monsters, because they lived in a hellmouth.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know they lived in a hellmouth. I'm happy for them.
And I think
Go ahead.
at the end actually there's a giant hole where because of it at the end of the series.
Oh. Yes, he was a werewolf. Thank you, Sammy, for confirming that. That's what I thought. See, I'm not totally into the. Also, there was that other dude, the blonde, slick back, sexy vampire. Everybody was like, ooh.
Spike.
Yeah, Spike. Well, he's not in this photo,
Spike.
but everybody was in love with
James
that.
Marsters.
Billy, what was that? What's that rocker's name? Billy Eilish or no? Billy Idol.
Billy
Yeah,
Idol.
Billy Idol.
More like Billy Idol.
Idol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sammy, you could be disappointed, but the thing is that I tried. I watched the first episode twice. I took years off and tried to watch it again. It just didn't like it. It just did not appeal to me. So I just walked away from it. I fell in love with Firefly, though, so there's that. But nothing he did after or before I enjoyed.
That's what I'm gonna say about something higher in the list later.
Oh, okay. We're going to move on, though. Tying with Buffy was a one-shot television series that happened. It was like 8 to 10 episodes, if I recall. And it came out just a few years ago, and it was called Midnight Mass. It has to do with vampires. And as I was telling Chris, who has not seen it, watch it immediately because it is phenomenal. It is a phenomenal piece of television fiction that I absolutely adore and fell in love with. And in fact, it made me fall in love with Neil Diamond's work, which is very strange to say. But for them to use Neil Diamond pieces in this series and make it so appealing to a modern, generation, and I guess I'm modern. I don't know. Maybe I'm not. I'm just an old dude. What do I know? But anyway, it was great. It's a fantastic series about vampires on a small island in the, I want to say, Maine area, somewhere around there. It's great. It's excellent. You have to watch it. I don't want to spoil a damn thing about it. It is fantastic. Sammy says you're missing out. Angel was pretty good. Hanzo says so. The one on Netflix is a remake. No, Midnight Mass, I don't believe was a remake. And Hanzo, that's Philippe, right, Kevin?
I believe so.
I think so. Hanzo, confirm, if you will, if you're Philippe, because I just want to make sure. Because my memory is not the greatest. I'm an old man. My mom says never saw that one. Mom and Dad, actually, I was in lockdown for COVID upstairs at their place and watched the entire season of this. Binged it because I didn't have anything to do upstairs and I was stuck up there. So I watched the entire season and I loved it. It's phenomenal. Good to see you, Philippe. Thanks for joining. It is a great series. Excellent. High production value. Just a nice, beautiful, touching story. Highly recommend it if you get a chance. So we're going to move on to number 8 in the series. Number 8 is an interesting one that only a few of us probably know about. We have a series of kind of no-name people that became names a little bit. One of them being, I believe his name was William Fincher, if I'm correct. Is that correct, Chris?
Yep.
And he plays the sheriff in this of a one-season, canceled after one season, series called Invasion. Now, the reason why this made the list is because just watch it. It's really, really good. I bought the DVD set when it came out. It didn't make it to a season 2. This was at the time when Lost had hit and was a huge hit for NBC, or I think it was ABC. And all the other channels were scrambling to figure out how to do some type of mystical series or science fiction series. And somebody came up with the idea of, let's modernize Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And let's put it in like the Florida Everglades area. And it freaking works. Like, the whole concept is these aliens come in through hurricanes. That's how they make their way inland. And they're water-based creatures. And they make their way inland through hurricanes. And they wash up onto land. And then that way they're able to take over. Now, there's good factions of these aliens, and there's bad factions of these aliens. So we get a little V vibe with it as well, which I thought was kind of cool. It's one season, but it tells an entire story, and it leaves you with a cliffhanger, yes, but it also leaves you with a bit of hope. And I think that's important with any cliffhanger, is that you're left with some hope. Not like, oh, well, everything went to shit. That was terrible. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, oh, well, maybe we'll survive. You know, maybe the human race will survive, and this is why. So it's really good to have that, I think, with any cliffhanger. And I think this nailed it. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah. I mean, I remember I was when we were talking about this ranking TV horror shows. It was one of the first ones that popped up because I remember watching it and thinking, wow, it's like they're doing a pretty good job of making kind of a thrilling, horror-ish type. It's probably the best version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That was like a pure like remake of it rather than making it based on that I've seen, and that's why I added it to my list.
Yeah,
and I really like William Fincher too. So.
Yeah, it's really well done. And then the dude that he also later popped in a 3-season series called Deadbeat. If you've never seen it, my parents just watched it on Hulu. They loved it. Those of you might want to check that out. Also, he played the brother of one of the characters in the series, and he was great. Great actor, great character. Tyler, I think something. I can't remember his last name. Tyler something. Let's see. We have a few comments here. Scorch, which is Frankie, says, speaking of Florida Everglades, Queen Zaria says, hi, Osiris. Mom says she saw Invasion. Jesse says, hey, guys, from Gracie and Jesse.
What's up, Jesse?
Hello, guys. And Chris says, what's up, gang? Don't let your feet stick out from under the covers. Because something could get you, I think is what he
Oh, so am I going to get my foot rub?
Yeah, you suddenly just get your feet rubbed and you're like, oh, this is awkward. I have a ghost under the bed or a monster that loves feet. What if you did, and all it did was just like when you put your feet down, it just licked the heel of your foot or something.
Licked it?
Yeah, but it never did anything else. Like 15 years you've lived there, and every time you put your feet down from the bed down onto the floor, like as you're putting it down, it just grabs your foot real quick and licks the bottom of it. Like, would you would you be okay with that if that's all it did? You know what I mean?
I mean, getting my foot licked and then getting it bitten off, I would say that's a plus.
Yeah. Yeah, I think at first everybody would be pretty freaked out. I don't know if we would get that many people that are into it, but I think there would be a lot of people that would just be so scared they wouldn't know what to do and they would learn to accept it. I think that's
I'll give the monster something to lick.
You're dangling the wrong thing there, and it catches on pretty quick.
I'm gonna have to sleep a awkward way.
He's like, this tastes even more like feet than it did before.
Invasion. Where can you watch it?
At my place. I have it on DVD.
That's
I'm not sure where else, to be honest. Maybe Hulu. If not, you can probably find ganked versions of it on YouTube available also to view.
Okay.
But maybe Chris knows. I don't know with 100%. California Music Box says, hello.
What's up, Andreas?
Chris says, ghosts have feet fetishes. I had no idea. Mom and Dad say Deadbeat was a good series.
I think they have it on Amazon, but you have to pay for it to rent it.
Ooh.
I don't know if you can find it for free. But if you're looking for it, don't be confused. There's another show that came out last year called Invasion on Apple TV. It's not that one. That one's an alien invasion too, but it's not the same.
Different story. Yeah. That makes sure. Thanks for the clarification. Yeah, definitely. We don't want to get people confused. Chris says, I'd let a ghost suck my toes. Oh, that's great, Chris. That feels like that's kind of a weight, though. Like that's a thing before you go to bed. You stick your feet down and you're like, all right, let's hurry up. Just suck my toes so I can get to bed. It's not something that you would want in the morning when you're in a hurry. Especially if the ghost was like, you know what I mean? Like really sucking them toes, Hey, Alex, thanks for popping in. Perfect timing.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's nowhere to see it for free. You can see it on Amazon.
I bet you can YouTube it, guys. I bet you somebody ganked a copy of it and put it on there, and you can check it out. I bet you.
Yes, maybe. YouTube, please don't cancel us.
$20, I bet you could find it. Yeah, well, we're streaming to YouTube right now, so whatever. So Invasion, it's great. Highly recommend it. You guys check it out. I'm gonna start putting up the numbers so everybody knows where we're at.
I believe number
We're on number
Seven's next,
7.
right?
Yep. One of Kevin's favorites. He just bragged and talked this up until no end. This is probably in his top 10 or 20. This is called a little series called Penny Dreadful. And Kevin, why don't you go ahead and tell us about it?
Well, it's a really cool horror series. Takes place during like London, the Victorian London era, and you have Timothy Dalton, you have Josh Hartnett, you have Eva Green, Reeve Carney. You have some really good character actors that are just doing a great job bringing the supernatural in there, werewolves, vampires, mystics, you name it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these primary characters have like a secret they're hiding, and over time you learn more and more about it. But one character I got to enjoy, one of the supporting characters, Dorian Gray. I really like that particular character. It's very fascinating. Very fascinating.
Wasn't that weren't the characters like horror like characters from movies
Yeah.
or from literature?
Yeah,
Yes.
Dorian Gray was a novel, as was, of course, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Yep. Frankenstein. Yeah.
I think Bram Stoker's Dracula had some piece in here at some point.
Yep.
So all the
Yep.
like big horror
Werewolves.
trope classics, made its way into this series. And it's Josh Hartnett produced it. He believed in it so much he put his own money, his own production into it to kind of and he turned down a lot of projects, to be honest, to be in this and to be part of this series because he believed in it so much. And I believe it made it 3 seasons, you say, Kevin? 3 seasons?
Yeah. 3 seasons. It should have been 4 to really finish the story off properly, but
Mhm.
it is what it is. I really enjoyed its run.
Yep.
And of course, one of my favorite Bonds, Timothy Dalton, great job as Malcolm Murray.
And he's great, and then he just segues right into Doom Patrol effortlessly.
That's
It's
true.
fantastic.
He does. Yes.
Sammy says this show was amazing, dark, and beautiful. Let's go ahead and put that up
Yes,
there
it is.
so we can
Yes,
pin
it
it
is.
so everybody can see what Sammy says. And then she says Dorian Gray, Frankenstein's monster. Yes, Hanzo, which is Philippe says I saw the season The Circus. And Chris says, I used to hang out with Reeve Carney a lot back in the day. We would all jam on our guitars together with Johnny Lang. Good times. Great dude. And Alex says, Dorian Gray was my favorite character in the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen movie that no one but me liked. You're probably not wrong, because that's universally hated. Like, it's not good. It's not good.
Isn't that Sean Connery's last movie?
It was.
Yeah. It's sad.
Came out 20 years ago.
Sad that it was
2003.
his last movie, yeah.
Suppose I tell you I didn't like ya.
Yeah, pretty much. Rough. Just the way your mother likes it, Trebek.
Just the way your mother loves it.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Ooh.
All right, so that is number 7. Now we're going to move up to number 6. Number 6 is a complicated one because it is an anthology series, but it's interesting because a lot of the people play the same. A lot of the same people are in it. They just play different characters, which I kind of love, to be honest. And we're talking about none other than American Horror Story. And I'm going to ask everybody that's on the panel and in the chat, if they feel so inclined, to let us know what your favorite season of American Horror Story was.
Mine was the Minotaur one. I forgot which season. I think that was either 5 or 6.
Uh,
But that was the one in New Orleans.
I thought that was 3.
With the witches?
Yeah.
I don't remember the seasons. By
I thought
heart,
season 3 was The Witches. Am I wrong? Maybe it was 5. I don't know.
Well, the witches is the season that I liked too.
Okay, so I really enjoyed season 2's Freak Show. I thought it was fantastic. And then I liked season 4 a lot. And I can't remember what season 4... Or no, I think season 4 maybe was the
It's Freak Show. It's Freak Show. Yeah.
Season 2 was The Asylum, which I really enjoyed. So I liked season 2. I really enjoyed season 4. And then everything else sucked to me until we got to 1984. And I freaking love 1984. In fact, 1984 might be my favorite now, over Freak Show. If you get a chance to watch, at least watch 1984, because it does do that slasher movie trope, and it does it well. And,
Oh, yeah.
And they love doing that time jump thing in every season for some reason. I don't know why, but it works perfectly in this one. It's not like the Roanoke one where it just takes a big heaping shit all over your hopes and dreams, because that one's nasty, terrible. Don't watch it. 1984 though is great, and I'm surprised no one talks about it. And I think because it's so far along within the anthology series that people have either given up or they've accepted that it's probably not going to be very good, and it actually was very good.
I can tell you what season to avoid. The worst season is the vampire one.
Is that the one where they're all in the hotel and?
Yeah, Lady Gaga as the vampire.
Interestingly enough, I was told that one was really good, but I've never seen it.
I thought it was terrible.
Alex Banquita's never seen it. Chris says, I've only seen the Witches one, and it was pretty good. Mom's never seen it. Tracy says, tie between Coven and Apocalypse. Interesting. Yeah, I did not like the Apocalypse one at all either. But I only got halfway through it, and then I quit. But Coven was the third one. That was pretty good.
That was the witch. Well, that was the witch one.
Yeah. Jesse Allen says, Grace says Coven or Asylum, also Roanoke. Oh, sorry. Sorry about the Roanoke mention. She says no about Roanoke.
I really liked the first season, like how it all started. It was new. It was, they went with like an edgier, like psychological kind of thriller, in that aspect, and I kind of liked it a lot. Especially, the main actor who was, oh my God, what's his name?
Are you talking about the one that they always get confused with the other guy?
Yeah.
There's it's a Dylan something, right?
Yeah.
Dylan McDermott.
I believe that's his name, but I like him as an actor because he really sells you the character that he is.
Yeah, there's Dylan McDermott and Dumal Durrani or Moroni. Maroney, yeah, and I think it's Dylan McDermott is the guy we're talking about.
Yeah.
Just kidding about Roanoke. Oh, okay, good. Yeah, Roanoke was no. So I'm glad everybody found something that they enjoy. Kevin, have you seen all of it?
Not all of it, but I agree with you. 1984 and The Freak Show are definitely enjoyable.
Yeah, really good, really solid.
It was Dylan McDermott. It was in the first season.
There we go, Dylan McDermott.
Yeah.
And
Freak Show, I wish, like, when I was watching Freak Show, I was like, man, they could have done, like, a little, like, Easter egg and throw Killer Croc in there.
Sure. I mean, they could have.
They could have, like,
FX is now owned by Disney, so they can throw something else in there now instead. Yeah. But that is number 6 on the list. So we're going to go with number 5. Number 5 is a tie, by the way. So we're going to start out with the first one in the tie. And here we go. First one in the tie for number 5, of course, is none other than your beautiful baby boy, Ashley J. Williams, in Ash versus the Evil Dead. That is number 5, the first one. Now, let's talk about this one really quickly. I know, Chris, this one's near and dear to you. Why did you enjoy this one so much?
There's a car that tries to kill him.
That is true. That's a really great
I mean,
episode,
that's not why. It's just I love Ash. I love The Walking Dead, and I thought they did a wonderful job of bringing us back into that world.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was really funny. I love the characters, and I just thought it was a great, disgusting show. It was awesome.
There is, I think it was the opening, season 1. Now, I worked with, and I'm going to try not to name drop, but I worked with a guy that produced the Ash versus the Evil Dead. And his assistant was there. And his assistant was telling me, and I was like, oh, I love season 1. And he said, oh, great. He said, there's one thing that they gave us notes on to change for season 2. They said, go bloodier, go gorier. And he was like, are you sure? Are you serious? And they told him yes. So that's why there's such an uptick in gore from season 1 to season 2. Like season 2, when he's in that morgue and that body attacks him and somehow he ends up inside the middle of the rib cage looking out through this body that's on top of him. Comedy at its best with Bruce Campbell, and gore factor to 11. I mean, there's intestines, there's flying about, there's blood everywhere. It was insanity with that episode, but great nonetheless.
Like I remember that was the first episode of season 2. It was like that really long gory scene. Was that a cabin? I think it was, or something. I just remember. I remember kept saying, "Oh my god, oh my god!" I said that at least 5 or 6 times because it was so much more than the first season.
Yeah, yeah, it really was. They really upped the ante, and having his dad be the fall guy, aka the Bionic Man, was such an inspired casting choice. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. You can't ask for a better casting from a television icon than to be Ashley J. Williams' father. So excellent choice there. Excellent casting all around. Just a fun series. Unfortunately, it only lasted 3 seasons, and they were hoping to go to a 4th and continue to tell the story, and it did not happen. So it's unfortunate, but it is the way it is. Still very good nonetheless, and well worth your time, Alex. If you haven't seen it, we recommend it. Anybody else have anything they want to add? No? Okay, we're going to move on to the tie at this number 5 spot. So number 5 tiebreaker is number 5 is What We Do in the Shadows. Another kind of a horror trope, but that also is very funny, much like Ashley J. Williams in the Evil Dead series, how he's kind of comical and corny. We have some comical, corny kind of characters here. It's all about vampires, and it's a reality show, basically. Like, they're following the vampires around, which is a bit silly. So it's like The Office meets vampires. It's based off the movie that came out years before it and was a moderate success. And then when FX took the series pilot and ran with it, it became a mega hit. And we are on season 4 or 5 of this show. I think it's 4 now.
Yeah, and it's the same world as the movie. Taika Waititi is the director, or is the producer. I think he directs some episodes. And in fact, they bring back some of the vampires from the movie in an episode. Mm-hmm. So it's in the same world as the movie. And I think it's personally the funniest show on TV right now.
Yeah,
I haven't really checked it out.
I will say, an unpopular opinion, perhaps, Chris, last season 3, I did not find to be as funny as the other 2. I was a little
the newest season?
No, the newest season I haven't finished. I've only watched the first couple episodes, to be honest. But season 3, I think, was last season, and I found it to be a little bit drawn out. Like, I felt like we were missing some of that comedy that I was used to from season 1, season 2. So I'm hoping season 4 gets back to that.
What season was Jackie Daytona in? The second season?
He was first or second, yeah. I love Jackie Daytona.
That's my favorite episode of those. That's when I fell in love with the show, with that episode.
Yeah, it was Steve.
Matt Berry.
Matt Berry, thank you. Matt Berry.
He's just such a genius. Like, he's such a comedic genius.
And if you haven't seen Toast of London, highly recommend you watch it. Highly recommend it. I think it's still available on Netflix. If not, Google it. You'll be able to find it. But it's a great little BBC series or Sky Network series called Toast of London with Matt Berry, and he's phenomenal in that also. To me, he really makes the show. I love his character. And also the guy that plays the psychic, or the vampire, the other vampire, the
energy vampire?
Energy vampire, thank you. Yeah, I was going to say emotional vampire, but energy vampire, yeah. Let's see, we got some comments real quick. Let's see. Sammy says, moderate hit, how dare you? California Music Box says, hand, pink, waving, face, orange, raised eyebrow. Jesse says, Jackie Daytona, just a regular human bartender. Sammy says, they also had cameos from people who have played vampires in other movies and shows.
That's right, they did, yeah.
Was not first season, she says, so second. And Alex says, I need to watch this. Sounds great. Alex, it is great. You should. Why haven't you seen? What is this? Is this shows Alex needs to watch stat? Is that what we should have called this podcast? Shows Alex needs to watch immediately. So write that down, Alex. Put it on your list. It's another hit. Anybody want to add anything to this? Because if not, we're going to number 4, and I've got a lot to say.
All right, number 4 it is. I know it's one of your favorite shows.
One of my favorite shows of all time, and it's so silly, and you guys are going to laugh. But number 4, we had Supernatural on there. And I know with Sam and Dean, everybody thought that this was going to be like 2 young, attractive-looking guys that just go doing attractive-looking stuff. And it wasn't that at all. Particularly once season 2 kicked off and Ben Edlund took a more of an active role. He became a writer on the series. By the way, Ben Edlund, the creator of The Tick, the comic and the cartoon and the television series. If you haven't seen it, watch any of that or read it. It's phenomenal. But once he came on board, it became more humorous and spooky and fun, and characters started to develop quirks, and it just became this enjoyable mess of characters. Castiel, who's an angel that's been brought down to Earth, teams up with the boys, the brothers, that are looking in season 1 were looking for their father. Then Castiel joins in season 2, and now at this point they're just trying to kill demons any which way they can, and then they go after angels and demons, and it just becomes very messy. It was the longest running television series in the history of the Warner Brothers Network, the WB, which then turned into the CW. It lasted, if I recall, was it 15 or 17 seasons? It was something like that. An absorbent amount of seasons. It was a darling, a critical darling, and universally loved by
16 seasons too long, in my opinion.
Ooh. Wow.
Oh, wow.
Wow, Chris. Wow. What a
I couldn't get through the first season. I got halfway through and I was like, I throw in the towel. I can't do this.
So you're saying this shouldn't be a 300, because actually it has 327 episodes. You think that's too many episodes?
Yeah, I think it's 15 seasons. I think Alex confirmed 15 seasons. So yeah, it looks like it was 15 seasons. I went to the last panel at Comic-Con of it, and it was very... They gave away the car. They gave away Baby. They gave away Dean's car. And I remember the moment that they announced the winner. And I think it was a woman that rolled up to the podium in her chair using her mouth. Rolled up to the podium to claim her winning prize of that car. Which was interesting, because you would not expect someone that cannot drive to win a car, but they don't judge, and that just shows how across the board open Comic-Con is for everybody, that they gave the car away. And this woman is probably enjoying the hell out of it, having her son or brother or husband or whoever drive her around in Baby to go pick up groceries or to go to the movies or whatever. I don't know how they could retrofit that for her to get in and out, but I am sure she figured out a way, because when you're given something like that, you figure out a way, and that's a hell of a prize. Wish it was me, but I digress. It's fine. I'm sure she's enjoying it. Let's see what we got here. Chris says the male version of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Incorrect. Sammy says not a huge Supernatural fan. Incorrect. Chris is laughing. Incorrect. All of you are incorrect. Alex says, I won the Batmobile from the Adam West show at a con once. Was it this big? It's like this big, Alex? Was that a package?
Is that what they told you, Donnie?
Yes. Yes, that's exactly what they told me. Yeah, it was this big. Yeah. Thanks.
Supernatural is like a knockoff of Brothers Grimm, but I still enjoy it.
I guess you could say that to a point, yeah. Or like the Hardy Boys, but with more supernaturalness to it. But they created such iconic characters, Dean loves pie. Sam is always the one that's thinking too much and overthinking everything, and Dean just jumps headlong into it. Dean's all about what his father wanted and how to continue the legacy, and Sam's always about higher education and how to learn more and how to create harmony, where Dean just wants to no, you're a vampire, you gotta die. You've gotta die. And Sam's like, no, wait. Why are they a vampire? Was this something they wanted? Can we work with them? And Dean's like, no. Oh, we got to kill them. We got to kill them because they're going to turn on us eventually. that kind of thing. So there was that dichotomy. There was that that butting of heads between the two of them that I always enjoyed. And then you bring Castillo into the mix, who, in my personal opinion, stayed a little longer than he should have. I know everybody loved, what was his name? Sasha Collins, something like that. I know everybody loved this character, but I do feel that he stayed a little longer than he should. And I also feel that they stuck with the angel and demon thing a little too long also. They did one season later, I think it's season 8 or 9 or something, where they had the mother of all monsters. And it was a great idea, great premise, but it really didn't pan out. They kind of squashed it pretty quickly. And it was unfortunate because I felt that they could really build upon that and kind of faded out the angelic demon thing and went into this world, so now they're hunting just monsters and this creature that can create them. And I thought that was an excellent idea. Apparently so did the writers at the time, but then it got changed. But to be clear on this, if you watched season, I know there's a lot of seasons, there's 15. If you watch season 1 through 5 and you finish there, that's fine. That is 100% what the show creator wanted you to do. Eric Kripke wrote that series for 5 seasons, and it ended on his story. It ended him telling you the way it was supposed to be told. And so if you go to season 5 and you end there, you're getting the pure version of Supernatural, the pure story. And it's beautiful, guys. It's beautiful. But then they continue it on from season 6 up to 15. So they had 10 more seasons of Supernatural. It just kept going. It was the Energizer Bunny of television. Sounds like Hawk and Dove, says Alex. A little bit. And sounds like Donald needs to write a Supernatural fan fiction. Yeah, not a slash fiction, let's be clear. Fan fiction. Because I accidentally went to a slash fiction panel once, and it was awkward. And it was for Lord of the Rings.
Can you explain what a slash fiction is?
It's basically where Sam and Dean would, at the end of, fighting the bad guys, they would have sex with each other.
Oh.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. So it's basically like making all the characters like have sex with each other and find sexy ways to be. They even like talk about it. There's a lot of tongue in cheek. They went to a convention that was a slash fiction convention of their characters in the series, and they went to that convention and found people that were into that, and they actually put that into the show. So it's very clever. Ben Edlund kept writing past season 5, so he put some bangers in there. It got very clever. So there's some really funny stuff in there. So I highly recommend, even if you feel like you're done with season 5, just keep going because it is a lot of fun. But if you do stop at season 5, at the end of season 5, and you're good to go. Alex is asking, what is slash fiction? Alexi, I need to watch this show. Yes, you do, sir. As I just said, 1 through 5, and you're done if you want. You don't have to watch more than that. But if you want to keep going, you can. It is a convention. This is so common it has a name. Yes, Alex, it's very common. Just ask Sammy. I'm sure she's written some. Very proud of myself on that one. Okay, moving on from number 4, we're going to number 3, and it is another tie, guys. It might be the last tie of the evening, but it is another tie. And we are going to start talking about none other than a Robert Kirkman written series in comic books that's turned into a television phenomenon. This show lit up like fire, and everyone was talking about The Walking Dead. Anybody want to talk about The Walking Dead? Kevin? Sal?
The show is The Walking Dead, because even now the show's over, we're still getting The Walking Dead.
It's spinning off. Spin-off.
It's barely spin-offs, though, because it's characters that we got every episode of The Walking Dead in these main characters in these spin-off shows.
Mm-hmm.
Like we had one with Norman Reedus as Daryl that just ended.
Which doesn't exist in the comic book. His characters doesn't exist in the comic book.
And then we had Negan and what's her name teaming up together, and the one in New York City. And then we get Rick and Michonne in a couple months. And now we got Carol coming back in season 2 of Daryl.
Oh, interesting. I thought when you said Daryl ended, it was over.
No, season 2. Season 2 is called The Book of Carol. I say the show started off very promising. The show started off at the time the best zombie film, best zombie TV show that they could do. It's a lot of thing, being cable TV. It was a lot of stuff, a lot of gore you didn't normally see that wasn't on HBO. And it was creepy and it had really good atmosphere. But I think it ran about 6 seasons too long.
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, I would say it was Frank Darabont, I believe, that produced and directed a lot of season 1. And he did it in 6 episodes. And he wanted to continue doing it in 6-episode bursts, 6 to 7. And AMC was like, no, we have a hit on our hands. We need to expand this to create more revenue. And he said no, and they butted heads, and Darabont left. And then they expanded it to 13, and then 16, and then I think 19, and then 21 or 23, something like that. It just became bloated. So you got the Lost version of The Walking Dead. You had so many episodes of filler episodes where nothing happened. Nothing happened. You didn't care about anything. You just wanted it to be over. And unfortunately, it watered down the brand and kind of ruined it for people. So it wasn't great anymore. And that's the unfortunate thing with The Walking Dead. It wasn't great anymore. And that I miss about The Walking Dead. Now, we have a quick comment or two, and then we're going to move on here into this. But Robert Kirkman, who's that? Says Alex, I can't believe the guy who plays Rick is British, and AMC has mouths to feed. They got to keep making The Walking Dead forever. And it is, I mean, it's like, what is that series that's on NBC that everybody loves? It's got Ice-T and stuff in it, and Law and Order.
Law and Order. CIS or Law and Order.
Law and Order will just keep spinning off and off and off and off, and it'll never freaking end. But it is one of the longest running television series along with their spinoffs of all time. And now The Walking Dead is joining that higher echelon of television as well. And whether that's for the benefit or detriment of humankind fails to be seen at this point. But I will say, if you're looking for a killer 2-season zombie show, you should watch Black Summer on Netflix. They're short episodes. Each episode varies depending on the story they want to tell. Some episodes are 20 minutes, some are 45, some is an hour and 15. Whatever they want to tell within that story limit that they have that capability, and they can do that because they don't have to worry about sponsors. They don't have to worry about ad time. They just created it, and it made it fantastic. So if you get a chance to watch Black Summer, highly recommend it. And also,
I thought the second season was a little not as good as the first season, but the first season was
not quite as good, but
fantastic.
Still very good. The first season was fantastic. The second season is very good.
Well, I like the thing about the second season and the show in general is a lot of it was a real time.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Which really added to the tension.
Mm-hmm. And if you like zombie-esque type series, you might get a kick out of the newest to enter the realm, and that happened not too long ago based on a video game called The Last of Us. The Last of Us basically is, in my opinion, a very similar retelling of The Walking Dead, only you're adding a child into the mix, which we already had in The Walking Dead, but it's done a little differently. But I feel like I've seen this over and over and over again, so I'm not as huge a fan as a lot of you are. But I do appreciate the acting in it, and I will continue to watch it. I just feel like it's been done. So that's
and you have two characters from the Game of Thrones that star in it.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. Yeah.
I like that it's very accurate to the video game. Like it's almost identical to the video game. I played the video game. I played Last of Us 1 and 2, and I feel like they're capturing it super good because the guy that actually was involved with the video game, he's involved in the TV show.
Oh,
you know, so he wants this to be on point. Mm-hmm. So, I like it. I like it a lot because it's not just a virus. It's fungus.
Yeah,
and that's what it is.
It's not just a fungus. It's cordyceps. Mm-hmm. And if anybody knows anything, and I actually do know a little bit, having worked in a Chinese herb background for many years, I do know cordyceps. In fact, if you can YouTube, after we're done here, get on YouTube and YouTube cordyceps ant, and watch what cordyceps will do to an ant, and then think about what it does to the people in this series. It's very well done as far as that's concerned. And I've always kind of shied away from cordyceps, particularly for this goddamn reason. And I'm not joking. I thought, that's scary what it's doing. I know I'm larger, but what if I had too much of this shit? Would that do that to me? And I would talk to people that are runners, and they swore by cordyceps, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I use it for athletics. You know, it's great for my energy levels and stuff. I swear by cordyceps." And I'm like, "You're gonna turn into a goddamn zombie. Is what's gonna happen." You know, and that may happen because they use. It's very clever how they use the global warming aspect of the Earth, and how it was the colder levels and weather that kept the cordyceps in check. But when things started to get more balmy all the time, cordyceps was able to then embed itself within the human body and take over. And that's scary, guys. That's really scary because it's getting closer and closer to a reality. So I wouldn't take cordyceps. There's many other things you can take to provide yourself with energy. I would say humic and fulvic minerals would be a great idea. Help nourish your adrenals, build your energy slowly that way. It may take you 3 to 6 months, but you know what? It's a solid way, and it's not going to turn you into a goddamn zombie. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, I really love how they, it's a realistic approach to how the zombies could actually happen. And I love that they didn't leave it a mystery, that they just right at the beginning of the story, they're just like, here it is. Now here's what happens because of this. And that's the one thing I really, really, really enjoyed about it was like, oh, okay, they tell us right away what caused it. So and then it was that's what made it so scary, is that it is so realistic that you really think about it, it's like, oh, that really could happen.
Yeah.
And I think that it's going to. And I think it's going to be better and end up being better than The Walking Dead for the simple fact it doesn't plan on running a long time. And I think it's going to end while it's still
we're not going to get a ton of
fresh,
spin-offs or anything like that. Yeah, we're going to get just the self-contained story, and it's just going to end there. And I agree with you there. HBO has a track record, though, recently of canceling stuff that's really good. The Minx, if you haven't seen that, season 1's phenomenal. It's about a woman that created a all-male, nude male magazine for women. And that was really good, and they canceled it after 1 season. In fact, they were almost finished with filming season 2 when they canceled season 2. They didn't even get a chance. The other one that I'm thinking of is Winning Time, the story of the Los Angeles Lakers. We didn't get that story told. We didn't get the full story, unfortunately, because that got canceled, and it was spectacular. Really? Spectacular.
Oh, no.
I think they just aired it at the wrong time, and people didn't know it was out, and they didn't advertise it well, and it tanked. And season 2 tanked compared to season 1, so they canceled that immediately. So HBO is on a roll. So if you do want to see The Last of Us continue, when it comes back out, you need to watch it, guys. It's important because nobody is monitoring their shit like HBO right now, because they are hurting, and they're going to cut anything that they're not thinks is going to make them a dime. So let's see. We got some comments. Alex says they got to beat a dead horse. I watched that zombie ant thing. Messed up. Yes, it is. Minx has another season coming, but it's on a different network, says Sammy. Oh, great. So they sold that second season. That's smart. Good. I wonder if Stars picked it up, because they like that kind of shit. So we had The Walking Dead, The Last of Us. That was number 3. So number 2 on our list is none other than Stranger Things. Stranger Things at number 2 says something. It says there's something pretty phenomenal coming up after that. But Stranger Things sets the bar, guys, for horror. It sets the bar for familiarity, for particularly Gen Xers. And how we felt about the 80s, and how we lived through the 80s. And this is basically telling us all about that, 70s, 80s, and probably into the 90s at some point here, dabbling into it. But it's a great story about a girl with special powers, that she's able to move things with her mind, and the kids that she runs into that have no powers except their devotion to her, and their wit, and their their guts, and what they're able to accomplish together with the power of love. That's the power of love. Huey Lewis would be proud, by the way, of Stranger Things. Okay, guys, what do you have to say about Stranger Things being at number 2?
It's a good show. I haven't finished it yet. I actually just started 2 months ago.
No
Because
shit.
I watched season 1, and then I kind of took a break because I'm like the type of person that wants it all out. It's like a binge watch it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I watched The House of Dragons, and I'm impatient right now for season 2.
Yeah, me too.
You know,
Gotta wait another year for that.
Yep.
why you gotta do that to me? But anywho,
Yeah,
like
sorry.
Stranger Things, I love the story concept of it, and then like the Demigorgon, and then Vecta, right?
Vecna,
Is that the guy's-
yeah, Vecna. I think.
Dude, he looks like, he gives me like Swamp Thing vibes, but it's like he's like all bloodied up and like
It's like Skeletor Swamp Thing.
exactly like
Yeah.
I was like I love the guy that's playing him.
Mm-hmm.
He was actually in an episode of Tales from the Crypt. I forgot his name, but he's like a blonde white dude, and he's
Wait, is this the same guy that played?
Isn't it Jamie? Isn't it
Pennywise?
Jamie Campbell?
yeah.
Jimmy Kimmel.
No, it's not Pennywise. It's
No?
it's an older gentleman.
No, it's not. He's not old. He's younger.
Is he younger from Vecna?
Yeah, that plays Vecna. Yeah, he has really good makeup.
It looks like he was old, and I was like, dude, I just love the way he's like how he talks. Like he
Well, it's the
has,
same
like,
guy-
that raspiness, and it's just
Have you-
I love.
Have
his
you
character.
finished? But you haven't finished it, so you'll see. But
No.
Yes.
Did they finish Stranger Things? Is it done?
No.
or
there's
is
one
there-
more season.
One more season, and Millie Bobby
Okay.
Brown is chomping at the bit to get it done. She wants to be done with it. Mom and Dad says watch the first season. Mom and Dad, watch more. It's great. Sammy says yes. Hellfire Club. Sabrina says scary. Only watch season 1. Watch more. And Jan Michael Lesmeris says did
What's up, Jan
X-Files
Michael?
did X-Files go up on the list yet? No, X-Files did not make the list because it's more science fiction and aliens than it is actual horror. So it did not make the list, unfortunately. But we did acknowledge that. So there we go. I think Kevin just typed that out, actually.
The thing I love about Stranger Things is I think it has the greatest character death out of any TV show ever
Mm-hmm.
at the end of season 3.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting how we all thought, oh no, when season 2 happened, and there was an introduction to some characters and a full episode of those characters, we were like, Jesus Christ, like save us from this story. And all of our prayers were answered because they immediately saw it did not work and got rid of that. Like, gone. Gone, And we didn't have to worry about that anymore. And then season 3 came out and it was exceptional. And season 4 came out and it was even better. I would say I would put season 4 up to season 1 any day of the week. I think they're both neck
Because
and neck. They're so good.
Vecna is such an amazing villain that it just makes that season. It's just so good
Yeah.
because of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really solid storytelling, really great, and it's getting darker. That's the hell of it. It's getting darker and
Yeah.
darker. So, as much as you're scared with season 1, that's kittens, fluffy kittens for season 1. It gets so much darker, and it's great for it. So strap in, guys, and stay tuned on that because it's going to get better and better. Stranger Things now, season 2 has that road bump. Don't get me wrong, and you'll know the episode when you see it. You'll be like, "What the fuck is this?" That's what that episode is. You'll know it instantly. Just forget about it. It's gone, and you'll never hear of it again. You'll be fine. Jan says, damn, high key had a lot of childhood trauma from X-Files. Yeah, if that's the case, you should watch No One Will Save You. It's on Hulu right now. If you haven't seen that, I would recommend that. There's no actual words said during the whole entire movie, but it is a home invasion film told through the story of an alien invasion. Go figure. So enjoy that. I did. I very much enjoyed it. Also, if you get a chance, what's that show that was on Amazon? Totally Killer, I think is what it was. It's a movie on Amazon Prime. If you get a chance to watch that, it's about a girl that goes back in time to try to stop her mother's friend's killer, like some serial killer.
With what's her name? That girl who's looking real grown up now.
Yeah, I can't remember her name, but I know who you're talking about.
She's been in a ton of stuff.
Yep, and it has the mom from Modern Family too in it, the blonde lady.
Yeah.
She's in it too, and then the dad from Dead Man on Campus that played the crazy dude. You know the one, like that guy.
Oh, Dead Man on Campus, yeah.
Yeah, which is a great movie, and if you haven't seen that one, check that out. We're so full of recommendations tonight. Luna says same that
Karen
episode.
Shipka, that's her name.
Oh, okay. So Simona can shoot
Karen Shipka.
Yeah, Shippa Chuba.
Karen Shipka.
Hamina Herne Shippa. Luna says same. That episode about that guy obsessed with something called the Screamers really scared me. Kirian Shipka is what Sammy says. Who was in the new Sabrina show? Oh, that's where she's from.
It's
Oh,
it's also
shit.
Mad Men too.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Sabrina Scott says, if you are talking about No One Will Save You, I thought it was lame and confusing.
Damn.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Did you see the ending? Because they explained it all. So, I don't know. I caught on. But I will say it was a little confusing throughout until near the end when they explained it all. And then you kind of get the gist of it. But they don't explain it until later. Which is... So if you didn't stick with it, you might not have got that and know. And then Sabrina says, Sabrina has the girl from Mad Men in it. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
her. Yeah.
So we got number 2. Number 2 is Stranger Things. What could possibly top number 2? Well, I can tell you one thing that could. And it was a comic book. That's how it got its start, guys. And we're talking about number 1 with a bullet. Tales from the Crypt. Talking about an OG that just set the bar for an anthology tale. Each episode was different. Each episode had a lesson to be told and taught to everyone involved, everybody watching and everybody within the show. And it's phenomenal. Every season of this series is great. Not every episode is great, don't get me wrong, but there are way more good than bad. And this is who is Back to the Future. The director did some episodes of this as well.
Robert Zemeckis?
Robert Zemeckis, yeah. I think he was a producer on it also. Put a lot of time and money into this.
Arnold Schwarzenegger directed an episode, if I can remember correctly.
He was in an episode. I think he did direct one also. Yeah, you're right.
I think Tom Hanks directed one too, I believe.
Alex Benquita says, yes, I love Tales from the Crypt. Sabrina says, agreed. Alex says, one of the best shows ever. Sabrina says, I like the Ted Danson episode. And my mom and dad says it's one of my sister's favorite shows. In fact, my sister Diana does have the pinball game in her bar. Yes, she has a bar that says Tales from the Crypt. It's the Tales from the Crypt pinball game. It's a phenomenal pinball game if you get a chance to play it, actually, guys. Joe Pesci's episode is also great. Everybody has a favorite episode. Probably still to this day, one of my favorite episodes is the one with the crazy Santa. And I believe that was season 1, episode, I want to say 3 or 2, maybe 4. I'm not 100%. 2, 3, or 4 was the episode number. And it was about a guy escaped out of an insane asylum and put on a Santa costume. And then he goes to this house and breaks in and then tries to murder this woman. And she deserves it because she straight up murdered her husband. You know, that's what Tales from the Crypt was all about, was comeuppance. And in fact, it's interesting to read all about the comic book and how it was thrown under the bus because of its violence, when in fact it was trying to teach tales to children that you shouldn't do this shit because A, it's messed up, and B, you're never going to get away with it. You're always going to end up getting screwed over. So
it's the classical, don't judge a book by its cover.
Alex says Brad Pitt was in an episode, but it originally wasn't meant for Tales from the Crypt. Episode 2 was the Santa one. He says, damn, now I gotta watch. I'm gonna watch it when this show is over. Yeah, you should watch the Santa one especially. I love that one. It's so good. There's some great episodes in there. Always some and stuff that you'll forget, because there was I want to say I own 7 seasons of it, but I think there was more. I felt like there was 8 or 9 or something, but maybe it only ran 7 seasons. But,
Yeah, so only 7 seasons. Only
but
7.
it ran
And 2 movies.
enough. 3 technically, but no. They tacked the name on and threw in the Crypt Keeper to the third one, so it doesn't deserve to be called that. So we got Bordello of Blood, and then we got the better one. And what was the better one, guys?
I don't remember.
Demon Knight?
Right, yeah, the one with Billy Zane, Demon Knights. Tales from the
Yeah, I couldn't
Demon
remember the
Knights.
name. I couldn't remember the title.
Oh, that's okay. Where he does his best impersonation of Beetlejuice, Michael Keaton's Beetlejuice in that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
phenomenal.
yeah.
I love Demon Knight. In Jada Pinkett's in there. I think she's bald in that one too. But Will Smith is not in there, and he's not slapping anybody. So
Keep
Interesting.
Thomas
watching.
A. Church. Thomas A. Chirp's in it.
yes, he is. He's in that film as well.
Billy Zane?
and so is who's the guy that played the hero? Like technically, the guy that had the mark on his hand. William Sadler. William Sadler was
William
in it.
Sadler.
Alex says the tone of this show is amazing. I love it. Demon Knight ? Yes, thank you, Alex. Yeah. So if you get a chance, they're only about 20 minutes long, 22 minutes, somewhere around there, maybe even a half an hour at the most for these Tales from the Crypt episodes. You can watch one right before bed and then immediately get in bed and try to go to sleep. I feel like that's the best use of your time. Watch an episode of Tales from the Crypt and immediately go to bed. Sal, what did you think of Tales from the Crypt? Were you a fan of it? Do you love it?
I love it, dude. Like I was like, my mom didn't like me watching it because I was still a young little buck.
Mm-hmm.
But my mom knew that I was into horror stuff.
Yeah.
Like I would watch Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. I watched all of it. Like most of my members of my family do not like this shit. I'm the only one that likes the gore, the scariness, and don't get me wrong, like I tell them like I get scared, like I get that that shock of adrenaline in my body, and I like that feeling because like at the end of the day, I want to see if I could get myself into that stuff, like making a horror movie. And Tales from the Crypt, what I love about it was just always different scenarios and different monsters. And I think my favorite one was with Billy Zane was chasing this one dude, and then he ended up with a group of people inside of a church. You know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's the movie Demon Knight. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really like that one.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It's an excellent movie and deserved to be in theaters for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see. Saturday the 14th was fun, says Mom and Dad. And Kevin says as well as April Fool's Day. There was another one too that was like a time travel one with the same Happy Death Day or something like that. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that one. There's a lot of good horror out right now, especially within the last 5 years. There's been a lot of very clever horror films, which I think is important to note compared to a lot of just slasher films, which I absolutely cannot get into. I don't want a traditional slasher film by any means. Give me something with a bit of originality. And Happy Death Day was one of them. And this new one,
Oh, that was a
Totally
great
Killer,
movie, yeah.
is a great one to put a spin on a slasher flick. Even Scream took the traditional slasher film and put it on its head and made you guess and made you think instead of just go, oh, who's going to die next? It wasn't about that. It's who's the killer and why. That's what you wanted to know at the end of every Scream film, and that's important. Luna says,
What do you think about that?
Luna says, I never watched that, but it seems like that Nickelodeon show with the kids around the campfire.
Yeah, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah,
We're Afraid of the Dark.
Kind
Yeah.
of. What were you going to ask, Chris?
I was gonna say, what did you think of that thriller or that one same type of movie, but the one where Vince Vaughn switches bodies with the teenage girl?
Oh yeah, what was that? It wasn't Freaky Friday. It was just called Freaky or something like that, right? And it came out. Unfortunately, it came out very similar timing to Becky. When Becky came out, and Becky was a home invasion film where the girl is just fucked up, and she's a little girl and she'll just kill you. So it's like, what if Macaulay Culkin is a psycho and you break in? You get Becky. Same thing with what you're talking about, Chris. Like, it was just like a really cool concept, but unfortunately it came out during the pandemic. and it just kind of languished a bit on the streaming apps. But I feel like there's definitely an audience for it, and I hope more people check it out because it is a lot of fun. I mean, seeing Vince Vaughn have to make out with a dude like that looks way younger than him because he's pretending to be that girl that's really into that guy is freaking funny. Like, it's funny, like, to see that kind of shit. So that's a great film to recommend, definitely, and I'm glad you brought that one up. And it also did remind me of Becky, which there is now a sequel to, which I haven't seen, but it came out, and I think it's a 5-year later film, and somebody kills your dog. So it's, you know how that goes.
So
if somebody kills your dog, you're going to John Wick 'em. That's what's going to happen.
So is it called Becky 2?
It might be. It might be called Becky 2, or maybe Rebecca. I don't know. Luna says, "Oh, are you afraid of the dark?" ? Yeah. Sean McGean says, "There's a Tales from the Crypt British horror anthology film from the early 70s as well, based on the EC comics. Peter Cushing and John Collins were in it. That Santa Claus story was adapted there." Yes, you're right. It really was. 100% was adapted there. Yeah, that's a good point to make on that. And the film was pretty solid. It was a pretty solid film also. So a lot of people do bring that up when you talk about horror films. Particularly they talk about that Tales from the Crypt movie.
That Santa episode kind of reminds me of Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Oh yes.
Mm-hmm. Garbage Day, right?
Well, that's part 2.
That's 2, yeah.
Part 2.
Yeah.
Garbage Day.
But that's the best. If you get a chance to YouTube Garbage Day, ! It's great. It's so stupid, but it's great. It's out of context, but I love it. I love it so much. And there is a lot of Christmas horror, so that generates well with that Tales from the Crypt episode, and with the movie from the 70s, that scene, the snippet from in there also. So that puts us at the end of the road for tonight. We have finished the whole thing. Tales from the Crypt, number 1 with a bullet, takes the cake as the best horror in television of any other horror series. Stranger Things came in at a close second, followed by Walking Dead, Last of Us, Supernatural, Ash vs. the Evil Dead, What We Do in the Shadows, American Horror Story, Penny Dreadful, Invasion, Midnight Mass / Buffy, and Friday the 13th, the series. Honorable mentions being Werewolf by Night, Yellow Jackets, The Strain, Slasher, Wednesday, etc., etc. We also would be remiss to not mention the Vampire Diaries, particularly because our dearly departed friend Gabe loved that series so much. I felt that, and I'm sure Kevin did too, that it bared being mentioned because Gabe would sneak away from us during Comic-Con to go to this panel because he knew we would make fun of him if we knew he liked the series so much, which finding that out about him made us love Gabe even more. So we miss you, Gabe. We love you, and hope you're enjoying your Vampire Diaries wherever you are, sir. But that being said, thank you all for tuning in. Thanks to Big Sal for being our special guest for the evening. And, of course, to Chris and Kevin for being wonderful co-hosts as well. And I want to thank you, the audience, for being here. It's been so great seeing you all back in the mix and commenting and stuff after such a long break. I do apologize. Again, we had a lot going on between all of us, and none of it seemed to be very pretty. So thank you for hanging in there with us. We appreciate it. We appreciate you. And please, you can find us on all of our socials. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on, Twitter X or whatever the hell it's called now. Facebook. We have a group on there. You can also find our audio podcast that we have every week on Spotify, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, etc., etc. Odds are, if we're out there, you'll find us on any podcast platform. And if, in fact, after all this research and work, you're feeling a little thirsty, perhaps you can crack open
a ghastly, creepy, chilling, and sometimes frightening Rumble.
Ecto Cooler?
Maybe.
Could be a pop.
Or Rumble Pop. I like Rumble Pop. It tastes a little better.
I like pop. Pop
it tastes a little better,
pop.
yeah.
We could have called it Rumble Soda,
Rumble Pop,
but
yeah.
People in Ohio wouldn't know what we were talking about. All right, everybody. Have a good night.
It's busy.